And we have more than 125 years of experience in that area. So this means, on the one hand, we are quite, let's say, old-fashioned from that perspective, so old farmer. But of course, we have the aspiration to be agile, like a biotech company, and to be very vivid. So innovation in general is a very hot topic within our company, and this is, well, important to know for the reason why we developed VR as well. The starting point, though, for our project is that our drug, a TNF blocker, got the approval for a very, very nasty disease, which is called Hidradenitis suppurativa. I know it's a little bit of training to pronounce it right. So in short, HS. And HS is a disease which shows its full damage below the skin surface. So it looks on the skin like a little bumble, but the real damage is below the skin surface. On the other hand, we are confronted with dermatologists. Dermatologists are our customers. And of course, dermatologists, you know this, are visually focused. So they do their diagnostics on the skin. So that moment we got the approval, you know, the challenge came up, like how do we make our physicians understand HS? And this is where the idea came up. What is with the idea if we could dive below the skin? And that was the moment our project, got to the world, because we wanted to show the full picture of Hidradenitis suppurativa HS below the skin. So we called our baby AbbVie Virtual, and with AbbVie Virtual, we had 3 major goals. First goal, increase awareness for this disease, Hidradenitis suppurativa, as well generate brand exposure for our HCPs, for our physicians, and to do that, we have to find an engaging way how to communicate with our HCPs. And AbbVie Virtual, perfect item, perfect tool, perfect application to do that. And here you have a glance at what we did. Skin surface. So this is what we did. It was just a little snapshot of the virtual world we created within our project, and to walk you a little bit through, because I think it's important to know what we did. So we started with the command center. You saw this. We took the audience and the visitor into this virtual world. And with a nanobot, this is the little animal there. Well, is animal the right word? I don't know, but this little body, and the HCP, the physician, was this little nanobot, and then took the tour through the body. So we started on the surface of the skin to show them how the skin looked like from above. And then, because I said before, HS is, the full damage is shown below the skin, so it was important for us to really then dive below the skin and show the physician what's going to happen below the skin. And of course to show them as well what our drug is doing, how the mode of action works. And then, we went back on the skin again and showed the healthy skin after the right treatment of the patient. What did we achieve? Because in the panel discussion we talked about results as well. We had a buzzer where the visitors of our virtual project, virtual reality, gave us their feedback after the tour. And it's quite an impressive figure because 98% of the visitors gave positive feedback. They were really, really excited to see it, and no one really said like, oh, it's not worth it, it's not good. And for us, an important number, more than 3,000 minutes during one of our congresses now in July, which took place in Munich. We had 3,250 minutes with our target group, which is quite an impressive number. And from the feedback we got, we were the highlight during this Congress because we stood out with this new technology. Some comments. One of the most impressive comments from my side, or which I really like, is the one on the right-hand side. Amazing. I finally understood what Hidradenitis suppurativa is about, and this was definitely our target with the project. We want to make sure that the HCPs understand which kind of disease they see, what they have to take into consideration when they do the diagnostics, in order to really give the patient the right treatment and not to underestimate the burden of the disease for the patient. We talked about learnings in the panel from my side, because virtual is so new for every one of us. I really like to give my mission, and my mission is here, be brave. Because on the corporate side, we have to, or you have to convince so many stakeholders within the corporation to really get new and breakthrough technology into the routine, and therefore you need to be brave, because otherwise it's not going to happen. Very important, make virtual tangible within the organization. A lot of the people have never ever, well, by now they heard about VR, but they don't know what it is and had never had the experience. So make sure that the most important stakeholders know what you're talking about. Present something of interest for the target group, for the customers, for the audience, because if there is something they are not interested in, then probably there's the potential that the goggles, that the customer is not going to wear the goggles to see, to overcome this goggle barrier. Therefore, it is important to have something of interest for them. And important in regards to the cooperation with the external partners, the better you describe your idea, what you want to achieve, the easier your external partners can really develop your idea. And this is one of the learnings from us. We have to be very, very precise, and we have to really explain what we try to do. And then it's easier for the externals, for the consultants to really help us and support. And another point: use the full potential of VR. That's one of my favorites, because it's not only just showing a film. What was mentioned during the panel discussion. we created in this project a complete new world for the visitor. And that was, that was simply fantastic, and the experience was really, really good and really great. So for us, VR and diving below the skin was a great, great success. And at this stage, of course, I'd like to thank my team and as well the external partners you see here. And there's one important part which you see here, probably won't see on the screen directly, but you see as well in the second row, you see that we had the scientific support from doctors, and the rest of the team is more or less, IT guys, programmers. And it's interesting that there are two worlds which are coming together, and this is important to know as well. It's important for the scientific support that they know that if they want to have something different in the whole VR project, then it is a lot of effort to really change, and a lot of programming to really change a simple and a little thing. And it's important to bring those two worlds together, like the programming IT world with the scientific world. And in our project, we did well, but I know from our external partners that it took a lot of time to really explain to the scientists, what is possible and what is feasible and what is really not, possible to realize because of timing constraints or because the effort is much too high. But, a special thanks to those guys on the screen, because without the support from them, AbbVie Virtual wouldn't exist, and that's a really, really cool thing, and we were so successful during our last exhibition. And imagine, this is more or less, this is probably interesting for those guys who are consultants in this VR field. From my perspective, in healthcare, there is so much potential for VR. For example, when there's a new drug launched, like a new pathway of a new mode of action of a new drug, imagine that the physicians can hop onto a boat and walk through or dive through the body to really learn how this new pathway, what the new pathway is doing in the body, like from the educational part. That's a huge field, and it's very interesting as well. Virtual surgery training. So before my history in pharma, I was working for a medical device company, and we always struggled how to teach our physicians how to do surgeries. Like the new guys who finished their studies, who tried to learn to do arthroscopy, for example. It was always a challenge, and from my perspective, I feel that there is a space with virtual to really overcome this barrier and to train physicians how to do surgeries. And as well, that's a big part which came up within our corporation when we showed VR. And when we showed VR to physicians as well, they said like, wow, what a great tool. I want this for my patients, to explain my patients their disease. Because what is the challenge with patients in this whole environment? Patients have to stick to their medication to get better. But for that, the patient they have to understand their disease, and they have to understand why their medication is so important. And with virtual reality, you could show the patient as well, like, this is going on in your body, and that's why it is so important to really take your medication. So that's a very, very interesting environment as well. What I said on the panel before, to realize something like this, of course, this technology needs to be more accessible for the average people as well, like a TV in daily life. So this is my vision, and this is what I see what we can do in healthcare in general. And let's talk the nanobot, if he's ready for that. So the Scout is ready. I don't know who of you has the next idea. Our Scout is really looking forward to get a new experience. So thank you very much. It was a pleasure to give you a brief update of our virtual world. And if anybody has questions, I'm here.